The legend himself, the up and coming prospect, undefeated, 9-0, Ciaran Clarke. How we doing, brother?
All's good, man. Thanks for having me on again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I know we just kind of touched on it. Last time you were on, we were at 6-0. So, a lot has changed. A lot of W's have come. Still got that zero. So you just got that arm triangle in round three. I think it was Bellator, the Grand Prix, that new promotion that they got popping off now. Tell us a little bit about that matchup. Did it go as you planned? I know this guy, he was 4-1, so he was kind of stepping into deep water with you. So how did that fight kind of pan out for how you thought it was going to go?
Yeah, no, I mean, as always, you're expecting, the worst. You're preparing for the worst. What do I mean by that? Is like, I'm preparing for a war. I'm preparing for, deep wars. You know what I mean? That's the way I prepare myself. I think a lot of people, you know, um, I think they think, they prepare in a way that they're just going to steamroll the lad. Whereas I prepare that, as we sh say, if shit hits the fan, you're able to, withstand the storm, I suppose. And that's how I always prepare. I'm prepared for 3 rounds war, and to be, to come out on top of that, of course. And yeah, like that, Darius Mappy was a great opponent. He was Tapology, he was 4-1. Sherdog, he was 5-1. I'm not sure there was something about his, a fight in there or something. But yeah, he had 5 first round finishes. Um, he was a tough lad. I knew that on the back of that then as well. He was never at the first round at pro. He'd done 15 minutes at amateur because in the UK you do 15-minute fights, 5 3-minute rounds. But I knew it's a lot different when you're, at professional level, the pace. And so yeah, no, I knew all of that going into it, and again, I was expecting a tough fight, and yeah, thankfully, then I think I took one punch to be honest, so it went fairly well, and yeah, controlled it, and I knew then, like expected, out of the first round, he was kind of blowing a bit, and that's when I get stronger. If you kind of follow me journey, you can see I get stronger. That was me, second arm triangle in a row. So it was great to get that, and yeah, absolutely delighted, so, and the praise I was getting after, and the conversations people were having me about it after, even on the commentary, Dan Hardy, Leah, Sean, and so it was brilliant. You know what I mean? I was just absolutely delighted, and even just to show like 10% of me striking, because that's in the bag there. And again, I think that's down to been in the right weight class now. So just really happy overall how the fight went, and considering because I had to read the toughest fight camp. Um, I took an injury about 8 weeks out, 7 8 weeks out. I took an injury. I couldn't spar, couldn't spar them for the rest of the. I had like 3 MMA spars, so like it was like that was that. And then I got a virus then the week before. I finished the 10 days of antibiotics on the Monday, the fight week, and I caught shingles. And yeah, it was hard to navigate around that while cutting weight and stuff. And so all of these hurdles happened, and again, like that, you just play with the hand you're dealt with. And so again, like that, I was glad to go in there and come out unscathed. And yeah, I made sure of that because I had a really tough camp. A lot of battling, a lot of demons and stuff. And naturally, nothing that's out. But when you have all these extra hurdles there, it's makes a difference. So just really happy how it went and how it felt in there. Main thing was how comfortable I felt. So absolutely buzzing, like.
Dude, that's phenomenal. And I mean, this is what I was gonna ask you next was, well, you made the drop down to 35 because all the time that we knew you, you're 45er, and then all of a sudden, PFL buys Bellator, we got a new promotion. Ciaran Clarke is a bantamweight. It makes sense. It's an exciting weight class. I mean, that's kind of where all the big draws are, if you really think about, Bellator and the big names that they have. So you're 9-0. It's like you're knocking on the door of like the tournament, all these other things that they've got going on. So what kind of inspired this move to 35?
Well, at 45, I was always undersized. Like I wasn't cutting weight. I was like, I was having to keep weight on, and as a fighter, fighters constantly think they have to be, suffering and hungry, and it's just this mentality we have with food, unfortunately. And I'm getting better with it now. I'm learning a lot more now about it. I'm working with nutritionist Tristan Kennedy. He'd be well known for working with Conor and stuff. And so I touched base with him and said, look, I want to go to 35. And we did everything. I did the full blood work, full DEXA scans, everything, and made sure everything was right. And just left no stone unturned. Did my blood work, my urine samples, everything. I just did the full works and made sure everything's down to a T. And since working with him, then I'm eating more now, and I'm doing it properly. And yeah, like that, I was giving away, you could see in there, £10 easily. And don't get me wrong, I went 6-0. Sorry, I went 7-0 at 45. I did a catch weight, my last one, at 63 and a half. The guy that couldn't make weight, so another catch weight. And then I was happy then to make the 135 this one. But yeah, I think what happened was that when I was climbing the ranks, I was like, right, well, these extra kilos, extra pounds are going to make a massive difference, when you're starting to climb towards, people are throwing certain names at me and stuff. And as you know yourself, those extra kilos, extra pounds are going to make a massive difference. I always had the cardio and, I always had that, but I was able to bring that down to 35. Obviously, the speed adjustment I thought would be, but I'm training with 35ers all my life, and my little brother was a flyweight, and so it wasn't much of a difference. So also it wasn't much of an adjustment. So that was really it. Like I wanted to be in a weight class where I'm the same size as the lads,
Yeah.
and it wasn't as if like the strength or anything. I was always able to like match their strength. It was the size, taking certain hits, certain punches, certain shots, giving out my when I'm dishing out the damage, you know, I feel now at 35 when I'm actually hitting the lads, it's like, I'm in the weight class now where I'm fighting lads same size as me. It's funny because a lot of people cut weight to have an advantage. I'm cutting weight to be not at a disadvantage, type of way. So I just feel I'm at the weight class now. Even if you look at my height, 5'8", I have a short reach, 6'6" reach. I'm there in the bantamweight, my stats are there, you know what I mean? So whereas I feel when at 45 it was, I was fighting lads 6 foot, 72-inch reach, 73. It was like, I was giving up that, so I just feel now that I'm in the right weight class, and really happy to start making a run at it. Like you said, maybe there's tournaments involved, or I don't know. I don't know what's next. I know it's a bit limbo a little bit with because there's no rankings in Bellator now. They're gone, so we're all PFL. But yeah, maybe I could work towards a tournament or work towards at least the next one. I'd love if the guy isn't trying to take my momentum. I'm trying to take the next guy's momentum. So whether he was the next top 10 opponent or somewhere that it can start getting me to build towards whatever may that
Right.
may be.
Yeah. No, I get 100% what you're saying. Like you want to get into the tournament, but you also want to be like progressing your career and like, building that brand. Because I get what you're saying. That tournament, it can be a freaking meat grinder. And like the way that they match guys up in the first round, it's just like, man, is this even worth it? 100%. But I mean, I get the praise, dude. Like you're saying, you only showed 10% of your striking, right? You got, well, I think that was like your fifth submission. So it's like you're just wearing these guys out. It's like now you're at a weight class where your style is even more efficient. Like the way that you kind of just eat shots, take shots, make it a brawl, and then all of a sudden, second, third round, it's like you're still right there firing, and these guys are fading. So that's just going to make the process a little bit simpler for you, which is great to hear. Super excited to see you keep progressing at 35. But what I really wanted to know is the tournament. So I mean, we kind of just touched on it. That's not the main goal. That's not the $1 million goal. You're cool with fighting on these Grand Prix cards and kind of just building your name like that. That's kind of what I'm getting here.
To be honest, like I don't know where I stand. Like that, as I said, when PFL was acquired Bellator, we were told we're all PFL fighters. Whether you're fighting for Bellator or PFL, we've seen like the likes of my teammate there, Pedro Carvalho. He's jumped over. He's in the tournament now. Another one of my teammates, Daniel Scatisi, he was Bellator. Now he's fighting in the PFL European tournament. Both of them are Bellator staples. So I don't know where I stand on that. Maybe, there is not, they've never done a bantamweight PFL tournament. So if there was an inaugural one, I'd be very interested in that. Or if I'm just staying with Bellator and it's like, maybe again, like I said, it's a little bit more unsure how the clear path to say a world title shot, which I feel, you know, I'm definitely, I'm not there yet. But yeah, like, and look, again, to be honest, if they told me just for argument's sake, tomorrow you're fighting for the belt, like I'd, I'm the type of fella I'm not going to say no. I've said that in the post-fight interview. I've never said no to a fight. I've said yes, but like I said, I don't know. They are still making those matchups. If you look at the likes of Patchy Mix and Magomed, they're fighting again. Say the featherweight Pitbull and Kennedy. So they're still making the matchups for the belts. So, and I don't know how you can work towards that because ultimately then it's all going to be PFL. I don't know how if that makes sense. None of us really know. So
Right.
again, I don't know what the opportunities are and where I'm working towards, but my mentality has always been I'm 0-0 and I just have to beat the next guy in front of me. If the next guy gets me to or if the next guy gets me here or that, I'm not really thinking 18 months ahead. I'm just thinking the next guy in front of me because that's all I have to be. And that's all I can do. You know what I mean? I have to be him before I think about anybody else. So
100%. So when are you looking to turn back around? Do you have a date in mind? I know you said you didn't even take a punch. So I mean, some guys when you don't take any damage, they're like, "Listen, I want to fight next week."
yeah, well, like I said, thankfully I didn't take any damage in the fight, but the training for it was the toughest yet. So I want it's not a break because I'll be back training, you know what I mean? It's nothing to do with that. It's just, I feel timeline wise, I have a few things going on now coming up in the next few weeks. And then again, like I said, the training was really tough for this, so I need to kind of recharge the batteries and get myself right before I can start actually going again in 12 weeks hard work. So my timeline would be I'd love September over with you lads over in San Diego, or there's a 2 weeks later there's a Wembley London card. So that September card I'd love that because like I said it's 12 weeks. So what 12 weeks you're talking June you're starting to prepare again. Which isn't that long. So yeah, I think that'd be a perfect time for me to start getting into that mode again and just for these next 2 3 months to get back, you know, improving, and just really enjoying it and just yeah, just improving, really just kind of just suppose working on the foundations that are there, that's built over the last 13 years and again really starting to hone in on what I'm, good at, and watching the type of fighters that I feel I can take something from. I'm not going to watch Israel Adesanya. I'm never going to fight like him, but I'm not
Yeah.
going to watch. Yeah, I know who I know who when I watch lads, I know right. I can fight like him, or I feel I can take that from him, or so that's really it for the next few months for me, and that's really exciting because I get to enjoy that process, and then maybe then it's June, 12 weeks, full steam ahead for September, and that'd be ideally for me.
Yeah. No, I mean, it also speaks to your conditioning, the fact that, because I know I just asked you, we're going to turn around quick, but then I just remembered you were telling me about the shingles and stuff. It's like we just saw, there was like what UFC 299 with Benoit. I know it's a little bit more severe. He had staph on his head, but I mean, he even like talks about like that first round was like everything he had. He was like, man, I'm completely gassed out. Those antibiotics, that whole like process that you went through, like that's crazy. So the fact that you had the gas to get to the third round and then finish this guy, it's a testament to the work that you're doing in the gym because clearly there was a major setback that really capacitates a lot of people. So, hats off to you and that work that you're getting. Coach Kavanagh, I'm sure absolutely killing it in there. Any sights of Connor? Is this serious? Is he actually coming back? I mean, you would know, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I wasn't in the gym since now. I'll be back Monday. Because I'm not just, I have to drive an hour to Dublin. I'm an hour outside Dublin. So, it's not just, you be knocking about in the gym, it's an hour's drive. So, I haven't been there, but I've seen he was there during the week and, he's back from traveling. He was there during the week and he was sparring. He was mixing up all the lads that were preparing for fights. So I don't know. He's been in the gym, and he has his own home gym and he's inviting some guys there to spar and stuff. And I was away with him in the summer, last summer. I know that was then, but and trust me, like physically, as far as like, if Conor's not like at his, of course, we're all at different stages uh of a calendar year. Some of us are in off season, some of us have a fight in 3 weeks. The type of shape you're going to be in depends. But I was training with Connor in his off season, say, and like, do you know what impressed me the most about him was that how sharp he is mentally, how sharp he is. Like he's just still that sharp. He's 35 maybe this year, or 36, and he's like he's like the sharpest fella I've ever met. Like as far as like his eyes for things, and and again that's probably down to the work he does. He's very clever with his rest, and he knows when to push and when to pull back, and that's down to the team around him he has, and yeah, like he has everything dialed in, physically, and that allows him then mentally to be very sharp. Whereas, if I'm hammering away and stuff and just constantly hammering and doing 10-mile runs and this and that and sparring, you're coming in, you're 75%, you're not, you might take that jab that you should have slipped or whereas Connor, he comes in, he's like switched on, you know what I mean? He's sharp, his eyes are, and that's why obviously that's his gift. That's obviously then, that's God given. That's probably not something I could train. I can train it, but I'll never be as good as him. But yeah, that's one thing that impresses me most about Connor. He's just so sharp mentally, and I think that's the biggest thing in fighting. I think if that's still sharp, the body can get fit. So I think I'm really excited to see him come back because, like I said, if that's still there, I think when your brain deteriorates or you know, the young guys are coming in and you're not, you're taking that shot you shouldn't have took, and that's when you maybe should be thinking about it. But man, he is sharp. Trust me, I'm a good few years younger than him, and he's sharp. So that's one thing I say about Connor. He's always sharp, and yeah, when he gets into fight shape, yeah, man, I don't think there'll be many people even wanting to spar him. So yeah,
Damn, dude, that's so awesome to hear because honestly, I mean, the media side of things, like, the casuals that are walking the street, their idea of Connor is that he's not very sharp right now. You see all the clips that are going out where, the Roadhouse thing and he's getting accused of this and oh, this guy's a wreck. And then it's like you talk to a guy like yourself who's in the gym, who sees this stuff, and it's like, dude, no, he's dialed. Like, this is all, media is very good at what they do. Obviously, there's going to be some moments. He's filming a whole movie. Freaking Broadway, the red carpet, all this kind of stuff. Like, yeah, he's gonna have his couple moments where he's Connor, but it's really good to hear that like when he's back there, he's dialed in and he's still sharp like that. You know?
man, yeah, like you can, that's my experience anyway. Like, trust me, like. And that's what matters. That's all that matters, really. Like, let's be honest, you know, it's on the night. It's on the night. He needs to be sharp. And trust me, he's sharp. He's mentally dialed in. And when he is, that's scary, Like, if he can get into that, tap into like the way he was with Eddie Alvarez, like, imagine if he tapped into that, like that type of, you
Yeah.
know, oh man, like and I still feel that's there. You know what I mean? Genuinely, I still feel, and I know he was nearly 10 years ago, he was 28 years old then, in the prime of his life. But yeah, like like I said, that's just genuinely that's one thing I noticed with Conor. He's still sharp. Again, he look at these interviews and stuff and all that, but like I'm on about on the mat in the gym. That's what matters. You know what I mean? And that's what you just want to hear. It doesn't matter what, regardless of answering a few questions. But yeah, on the mat, yeah, he's sharp.
Still that guy. Yeah. So, how, your whole run, you've been with Bellator basically your entire career, right?
Literally.
So, in terms of future, you see yourself kind of staying at Bellator or PFL now. Is that kind of the path that you see yourself on, or is this kind of like a we're gonna just play it by ear? There's certain fights left on my contract. Maybe I have other options, other things like that. Because we just saw with like Kayla Harrison, she'd spent like her entire career with the PFL, And it was surprising. Don't get me wrong. Like the entire media was like, "Holy crap, we never saw this coming." But you all of a sudden you see the pop that she's getting. Like her social media in the past 2 months since the announcement, it's like she's blowing up. Fans are actually getting engaged. They're getting excited. Granted, they're putting her on the biggest UFC card, in the last couple of years. Um, but at the same time, it does seem like there is kind of like levels to getting that brand name and building that promotion. So is that anything you've ever thought about, or is it kind of like, listen, these guys have treated me so well that like I'm in here with these guys and we're gonna ride to the top together? Is that kind of where you're at?
Yeah, well, like, I suppose the only time when I was unsure was when the sale was happening, was because, and not just because of that, I was on the last fight of my contract back last year, last November, my contract was up, and it was my last fight in September 23, and I was like, right, they're getting bought here. I don't know if PFL want to bring me on or what's gonna happen, or I hadn't a clue. And then next week later, I got a contract, and I was like, no way, I thought they were getting bought here. What's going on? And I did see they signed Patchy Mix, Sergio Pettis, these guys, and I was like, hold on, what's going on here? Are they staying Bellator, or what's going on? So that was interesting to say the least. And then yeah, I got the contract, and I was like, oh right, okay, they are staying on or whatever. So that's my first fight of an 18-month contract. Obviously, I can't see past that. That's what next, 2025, early 2025 or whatever it may be. But so that's really it. I'm locked in till then, and yeah, like I said, the opportunities to Bellator. I've started my first professional fight with Bellator, and that's another reason why I'm it's not like I'll fight anyone and all. It's just like that is the case, but it's like I'm here in the big leagues. I'm here in Bellator. I'm not building a record to get to the UFC, get to Bellator PFL, or I'm here now, so it's like whoever they put in front of him, I'm gonna fight, so but like that I said, yeah, so happy like Bellator really got behind me. Trust me, I've earned me stripes though. You look at my record and I had tough fights, and I earned me stripes with them. And then I became a favorable, I suppose I always brought great crowds to fights and stuff, and yeah, but like I said, now I'm happy where I am, and that's really it. I mean, like it's just been great. And again, who knows the opportunities that could be ahead of me, or who knows what 18 months is going to do for me? I don't know. Who knows what happens? I'm
It,
28 now. I'm 29 in May, so I mean, the opportunities are out there. I'm in a good position, and long may it last.
Coach is doing good. I see he's active. He's all over the place. Has he been was he with you this camp?
Yeah, of course. John's. I'm nearly in 10 years nearly in SBG. I was training 4 years in another gym back home here before I started to make the trek up to Dublin, and
Yeah,
that's 10 years ago now. And it's funny because I heard John say, I don't know if it's that stuff going off there. Sorry,
very good.
you're all good. I heard John say before, um, give me 10 years with a lad, and uh, see the magic happen. I think it was 10 years to the year that Conor won the first world title. And then for me, maybe it's next year, it'll be 10 years, I think next year, or maybe I think it's this year or next year, it'll be 10 years I'm with John. So who knows? I don't know if that means a world title, or but maybe it could be just even maybe it could be the 10-0, like I don't know, So John always says, give me 10 years, and that's what it takes most of the time in any sport or any profession. It's 10 years really, isn't it? Before
Yeah.
you could say, I have my finger on it. So maybe maybe there's I don't know. Maybe there's some truth to them words, or there's yeah, who knows,
No, I think there's some truth to the words for sure. Because I mean, what do you guys are 9 years in now? You're friggin' 9-0, killing it. It's like it's clearly, you know what I'm saying? It's like we're just taking the steps, all right? Uh,
Yeah,
but I mean, in terms of this kind of the next fight and kind of what you got coming up, it looks like you're kind of a submission guy, huh? Is that kind of what it's coming down to? Is you're gonna be this ground expert? I know you're saying you only flash 10% of your striking, but I mean, if you don't have to. You got 5 subs in 9 fights, 6 finishes. So, it seems like you're kind of going to be this submission guy going forward, especially with that extra weight.
yeah, who knows? Like, but look, like that, like it's no secret. You come to watch me tomorrow training. that's where that's where I'm leaning towards, And yeah, that's it. Like, I mean, I think it's just my style opens up them opportunities more, and hopefully now I can build off, you know, I suppose the threat of the ground or the that's my if there's a pyramid, that's kind of the base layer, and then maybe build off of that the striking, and then you know as we seen towards the end of Khabib's career, I say, he was dropping lads, he was dropping Conor, but that was only because he was the the takedown,
Yeah.
Whereas you watch him when he first came in the UFC, it was wildness, it was just madness, jumping knees, big Trump punches, looping punches, and obviously he developed over how many years, but like that's where I feel I'm still in that development stage where I'm just honing in on what I'm good at and where I can be good, So that's it. I'm just my own experiment, I suppose, So that's what I'm just gonna work on now, and I get back to the gym, and yeah, then hopefully in a few months' time we see a different version of myself.
So it's kind of confusing with getting up the rankings and how, where you stand, but maybe some call outs. I know it's not your swag, but I mean, I feel like it's kind of the only way right now. If you're in PFL Bellator, it's like, how am I going to move up? Well, let me just call out this guy that I know was like number 8 in Bellator or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But I know
Yeah, of course.
it's not really your swag, right?
Yeah, no, it's not. No, I'll give you a good one. Uh, I seen Danny Sabatello. He was like talking shit about me on his Twitter, and I was like, no way, there you go. Like I was like, it was funny. It was funny. He said something like, they shared something. He was like, fuck this guy, he sucks or something. Like something like that. You know what I mean? And I was like, that's gas. Like that's funny. Like that he even would comment on that. You know what I mean? I think that's mad. And I know he's a mouthpiece and that. But I just thought it was funny. You know what I mean? I was like, no way, he knows who I am even. The way. And I just thought it was funny, like I mean, I take all that kind of light-hearted and that, but it was nearly like it was like it was actually him insulting me was a compliment. Does that make sense? I was like, no way, you know who I am, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
there I was a few weeks ago watching all of his fights in UFC Fight Pass, and I was like watching the things he was doing, and you know, and because I know I've watched all of his fights, and like I know that he goes to the back and off his grappling, and I was like, like I want to see what he's doing, and I was trying to learn from him, and then next to that he's you know not calling me out, but talking shit about him. And I was like, that's no way. There you go. I was just like, him insulting me was a compliment. So I just thought that was funny. But look, I mean, getting attention from these guys, even Josh Hill, he's gone now, I think, but like he was like, not calling me out. He's called a gentleman Hill, but he kind of like called me, Franz, Khurshid, James, a few of us out. He was kind of like, I'd love to fight you in Europe type thing. And even the likes of like them guys that I've been watching for years and stuff that have fought in the UFC or fought Contender Series and well established names of Bellator, fighting lads that are fighting for titles now and stuff, only losing to these guys. I was like, no way, these lads are actually notice who I am. So I'm doing something right. Maybe it's one of these matchups. I don't know. Like I said, if it is, I'll never say no to a fight. I'm here in Bellator now. And yeah, whatever Bellator feels is next for me, that's it. It's just
Dude,
progressively climbing.
that Sabatello fight sounds so fire. Like that is a hell of a matchup. I mean, talk about two guys where it's like you were just saying, like your bread and butter is the ground. Danny Sabatello, I mean, that's about as clear as day. That's exactly where he wants these fights. So that would be super interesting to see you guys kind of square up.
Yeah, he's the top of the division.
Yeah.
Like and like the only thing is like what I would say is with like Bellator at the minute is like that's the way it was kind of before. You kind of fought these guys that are unranked, and then bang, you're in the top 10, or you're fighting top five. So and
Yeah.
it's even more like that now. So I'm fighting say unknown guys on the European scene. They're known, but globally they're not. But then you're fighting like my opinion, Sabatello's top five, top three maybe.
Oh yeah.
He's right up there. His only loss is to Stotts twice and Magomedov. You know what I mean? So like those two guys, former champ, and the guy that's fighting the champ. So that's it's obviously a major jump on the
Right.
paper in competition.
If you make that jump
But
too, you're gonna be there.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So
they're
like,
going
and again,
back.
yeah, and his style is very scrambly. He's tough, and he goes to the back. I tried to go to the back, and so it's interesting. And I know, and he's a bit of height to me, so it'd be interesting. But like that, as I said, again, it's not calling anybody out, and whoever they put in front of me, the paper will be signed, and that's it. It's always been the way. And yeah, like that, it's just like I said, it's actually a compliment him insulting me because, and again, it's not insulting me. It was just a bit of crack, like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But what I'm saying is to even be noticed by these lads, to even be considered potential opponents or whatever. Like, put it this way, we're not following each other on Instagram. I'm not fanboying or anything because we don't know what the future may hold or anything. But yeah, like that. It's just interesting, and who knows what the future holds. Like that, he's coming off two losses. He probably sees me, an undefeated prospect or whatever anyone wants to call me, and he's probably feeling, you know, maybe it's a fight to get back in the win column or something. But yeah, I'm looking at that fight and I'm thinking, like I said, those fights that are, I don't want to be the guy that someone's trying to take my steam, and that's a fight where I'm trying to take his steam. You know what I mean? So of course, and I'm major respect for him and that, but yeah, that's it. They're the fights to look forward to. Again, whatever the future holds, I don't know, but like I said, it's who knows.
Hell yeah. All right, Ronald. Well, I won't take any more of your time. I really appreciate you coming on. For anybody that doesn't know about Ciaran Clarke, make sure you tune in, follow him on social media and whatnot, because he's going to be taking over Ireland, step by step, in the PFL side of things. Because I know there's a couple guys over there, but that undefeated record and all that SBG energy you got, you've got something different building up over there. So, you got any final words or any last messages, sponsors you want to shout out before we jump out of here?
Nah, look, man, just I've too many sponsors. I'd probably be like a race car driver here. I've mentioned them all. But yeah, look, thank you to the sponsors, all my support. Thanks yourself. Like that. I think getting the likes of this exposure from the likes of yourselves and stuff, and even, giving me your time and stuff, it makes us. And yeah, appreciate it, man.
Of course, brother. All right. Well, we're signing out. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you drop a like, comment, subscribe. And like I said before, make sure you're following Ciaran on all socials because this guy's up next. So thanks again. And we out of here, man. Appreciate it.